Hello and welcome to Ecosystem Adventures with Susie the Scientist. Today we are going to be talking about trophic levels within ecosystems. Hello everybody and welcome to today's tutorial. Thank you for watching this in advance of tomorrow's class. Please make sure to take notes whilst you watch because the keywords will be important for tomorrow's activity. Alright, I hope you enjoy this one, Sean. I know how much you love little kittens. Okay, so first up we're going to be talking about trophic levels, and they are connected to food chains, which we have been learning about in the previous lesson. The trophic level is the position that an organism occupies in the food chain. Here we have an example of a food chain starting with grass at the bottom. The grass is eaten by the rabbits. The bobcats chase the rabbits and eat the rabbits, and the eagles occasionally eat the bobcat. The first level of the food chain is at the bottom, and that is the grass. And grass is known as a primary producer because it can produce its own food. It uses the sun's energy to turn water and carbon dioxide into food and producing oxygen, which helps us live. This process is known as photosynthesis. The primary producers are at trophic level number 1. Moving up the food chain, we have the rabbits that eat the grass. Now these are known as primary consumers because they consume the grass. They can't make their own food, they need to find food somewhere else. The rabbits are at trophic level number 2 because they are the second animal in the food chain. Next up we have the bobcat. Now the bobcats eat the rabbits, and they are the third organism in the food chain, and they are known as secondary consumers because they are the second thing to eat something else. And again, they are consumers rather than producers because they have to consume their food. They can't make it themselves. So, the bobcat is at the trophic level number 3. And at the very top of our food chain, we have a bald eagle. The eagle is the tertiary consumer. It is the third consumer in the line after the rabbit and the bobcat. And again, the eagle has to find its own food. It can't make its own, so it hunts animals like bobcats. The eagle is at the 4th level on the food chain, so it is at the trophic level number 4. And the eagle is at the top of the food chain and it doesn't have any predators. This is what's known as the apex predator. Okay, so whilst we're talking about predators, let's remind ourselves that all of these animals are connected by either being a predator or a prey. So the eagle is the predator, which is looking to catch its food, and the food of the eagle is the bobcat, and that bobcat is known as the prey. These two animals are said to have a predator-prey relationship. Now what about the relationship between the bobcat and the rabbit? In this instance, the bobcat is, yes, the predator, and the rabbit is the prey. So the bobcat becomes a predator when it is hunting for its food, which is the rabbit, and that is the prey. Now let's add in some words that refer to the kind of food that each animal eats. So the rabbits, they eat the grass, which is a plant, and they are known as herbivores. And any animals that eat other animals are known as carnivores. So the bobcat is a carnivore, and the eagle is also a carnivore. So this whole time we have been talking about food chains and trophic levels, but we haven't really looked into the word trophic very closely. Trophic is a word that refers to where the animals get their food from. The word trophic relates to nutrition, and food is where we get our nutrition from. Now the word trophic can also be abbreviated to troph, and when it comes to primary producers, these are known as autotrophs, and that means they produce their own food. Similarly, there is a word for animals that can't produce their own food, and that is heterotroph. So the rabbit and the bobcat and the eagle are all heterotrophs. To get a better understanding of what is happening in our food chain, we can turn the food chain into a food pyramid. A food pyramid can show us more accurately about the number of organisms at each trophic level and about how much energy is passed up the food chain from one organism to the next. In reality, a rabbit cannot survive on one leaf of grass, and a bobcat cannot survive on just one rabbit. The same for an eagle, it cannot survive on just one bobcat. The main reason for this is that the energy produced by the organism at that trophic level is not all passed on to the next trophic level. Some of the energy that the organism produces is used up when the animal moves or breathes or reproduces. In fact, only about 10% of the energy is passed from one trophic level to the next. So if we add in a more representative number of organisms at each level, we can see how many organisms there are. And here, as you can see, there is a lot more at the bottom, and it becomes less and less as you go up the food pyramid.